What do you know? It's another episode of DrawBomb.
Oh my god, we made it.
We made it to 2021.
We sure
Isn't
did.
everything different now?
Oh my god, it's like a whole new world outside.
It's crazy.
Wow, all of my problems ended with 2021.
They went away with the new year. Once that Planet Fitness Kia ball dropped, life changed for the better.
You're goddamn right it did, and no one can convince me otherwise. That's all that I got keeping me going.
How's it going, Ian?
It's going well, how about you?
Oh, great. Things are good.
That's good, I'm glad to hear it.
Are pretty good. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like a new man. And,
We're all just beautiful butterflies that are emerging from the chrysalis.
That's right. Before we were worms, but now we are magnificent.
We are reborn. You know what? I know we were talking about doing a drawing of a butterfly stepping out of the chrysalis, and that was like a rehash of an old drawing, but we should have done a butterfly stepping out of a Chrysler.
There's always next year.
Yeah.
Assuming we're still here.
God. Who
God,
knows?
I hope we are.
I hope not.
uh,
Welcome to DrawBomb, everybody. This is the show where we draw for 2 hours and then we also talk for 2 hours. And
it's true, we do that nearly every week.
We do about usually Mondays around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can't tell me any different.
No. And people have tried.
Yeah.
They're always like, no you don't.
It's 8:01, sometimes 8:05, and I'm like, shut up.
I'm like, you know, quit splitting hairs. You're in our time zone, we're perfectly on time every time.
Yeah. Our time zone's a couple seconds late.
Yeah.
It's like an anomaly of the meridian lines.
Right, you're like we're both right on the line. It's like a zoning issue.
Yeah, they call it the Twilight Zone, but it has nothing to do with the show. It has to do with the books.
Yeah. It has to do with that song.
Twilight Zone?
Yeah, you know, the theme song.
Oh, okay.
That's not what I was referring to, but that ended up being funnier.
Yeah,
that one. That's about us.
Oh, yeah, okay. It makes sense, you know. The lyrics, I never actually gave the lyrics a good listen.
Right, yeah, you know, it's like, it's interesting sometimes the stuff you find that's hidden right in plain sight.
Like the lyrics, I had never even known that there were lyrics till somebody pointed it out. And I was like, good God. There's lyrics.
Good God. There they are.
Good God. That's what I say every time I realize it. I'm just like sitting there in church and the pastor's like saying some bullshit about like God and whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, good God.
Right. You're always doing that in church.
I am.
I spend a lot of time in church.
Oh yeah. It's been a place I've been inside of in the last 20 years.
Yeah, and you know, if there's one thing I've enjoyed doing last year, it was going inside of places.
Oh my God, I did so much going to
we were having a moment watching. We watched like the ball drop just for like the you know like the last. I think we showed up like a minute before, and I was like I mentioned I was like, if you would have shown me a clip of this last year, it would have been the most terrifying, eerie thing to see because you wouldn't know why that would be the case. Like, is this all who's left? Because they did like this thing that was like first responders, but they were like in little squares spread out by like a bunch of distance.
Oh, and it's like a memorial looking thing, or?
I said first responders. I meant to say I think hospital workers and things like that.
Right.
My bad. But yeah, no, they had them like they were allowed to watch the ball drop, but it was instead of being like 1 million people, it was like 13 people. And if you would have seen that a year ago, not knowing why, you know, you're used to seeing Times Square like shoulder to shoulder.
Back to the gills.
If you saw that, you'd be like, oh fuck, what happens this year?
Yeah. Oh no. A friend of mine was like, yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for like the final like thing, like the alien invasion or like the zombies to happen. You know, just like the thing to really round out the year. And thankfully there weren't. But you know, 2021. It's no different than last year. It's just another set of numbers.
Yeah, we're pretty negative here.
Yeah. We for New Year's we just sat around and watched a couple movies, but like during the last 20 seconds of the New Year, we're just like, quick, turn on the regular TV and
That's
go
exactly.
outside and yell.
We were playing Jackbox and like, we have like 12 minutes left. Can we fit in another game? Like that's basically how it was. And then all of a sudden it's like New Year's, and we're like, yeah. And then Morgan had to work the next morning, so we're just like, all right, bye. Like 5 seconds after it was New Year's.
Oh my god.
It was good.
Yeah,
Had a
I
good
mean,
time.
I had a good time ringing in the new year, not doing anything particularly amazing, but it was a good night, you know?
Yeah. No, I had a great time.
We when we switched to the TV, we went to I guess the New Year's Rockin' Eve or whatever whichever one NBC does, I think.
I think that's
and it
good,
was
but I'm not sure.
and it was Joel McHale and
Oh, yeah.
Ken Jeong, and like they like were there, but you could tell they were just kind of like, nobody gives a shit. Like we don't have to try that hard. It's a hell of a year. So
Yeah.
like the whole time, like first of all, like they did the ball drop, and like I think it was Joel McHale, but he was like off for like they would go like 10, he'd like 11. I mean 9.
He's doing that the whole time.
Yeah.
The one and only time though.
And
There was a lot of jokes on Community about him being like very Ryan Seacrest-esque.
That's true.
And he finally made it.
He finally got the job.
I mean, I think they make those jokes. I mean, I guess that's Jeff Winger, but I think Joel McHale is more.
Well, he was definitely. I mean, he was the host of a show that, you know, was in a sort of Seacresty role, I would say, like this, like his doing the soup.
Yeah.
It was like kind of the same wheelhouse as
Well, I think
Seacrest.
you got to write jokes and stuff, which probably made it a little bit more fun.
Oh, for sure. And it was also funny because like the ball drops. They're like, yeah. Also, hi, Captain Sheepy in the chat.
Oh.
But they were like,
Sheepy.
yeah. And then like they're just kind of standing there, and then Ken Jeong's like, so what are you gonna do for Joel's just like, I mean, this was it. And then Ken Jeong's like, cool, yeah, let's take it over to Craig Robinson with the song. It was just like the most awkward, like I don't know like what the planning process is, but I don't think there was one. Because it was just, it was like very awkward, which almost made it funnier.
I was gonna say they're good performers. They probably knew what they were doing with that.
I think so, yeah. It was also just like, you know, when they would show streets of the New York City streets, and they were just like fucking empty anyways. So I feel like it was a no pressure situation for them. Like they really didn't have to do it too much.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
It was fun to watch
Yeah.
for like
Kinda
10 seconds.
Exactly. How you doing, Captain Sheepy? Welcome to the show.
Welcome. It's a new year. It's a new us. I started the new year off by shedding off my layer of skin and
You're not supposed
blinking.
to. I feel like, as part of the Lizard People Society, we're not supposed to really announce that.
Oh, I thought we said we were done with that after last year.
Oh, we're coming out of our hole.
I don't know. I've had at least multiple people see me blink my second set of eyelids. So the jig is up.
I think after the whole Pentagon releasing clips of the UFOs and nobody gave a shit came out, we kind of, I think we misjudged how we'd be received.
Yeah. moon being made of cheese was probably like glossed over by somebody.
Right, but everybody knows that's real. I mean, that's not surprising to anybody.
Where else do you get cheese, you know? It's like,
Exactly. Like, what do you think comes from, like, a cow or something? That'd be ridiculous.
I'm sorry, cheese is mold? Get the fuck out of here, you ridiculous liar.
No, we don't got time for that kind of nonsense.
Trying to make this.
Captain Cheapy says they're doing pretty good. Say, I'm not waking up when the sun's setting anymore like a normal human.
Hey!
Welcome.
Good for you. Welcome to the normal time zone club.
I've been wavering back and forth. There was a good, like, week or two where I was totally sleeping like a normal human. It was cool, but also at the same time, I like being up late, and I was getting, like, exhausted at, like, 11 p.m. So it wasn't the sweet spot. I need to be able to, like, push it. I need to not stay up till the birds start chirping, but I also don't need to go to bed, like, you know, before midnight.
2 p.m. bedtime, pretty much the best, the sweet spot in my opinion.
You said 2 p.m.
Yeah, I didn't say that instead of 1 p.m. on accident. I meant 2 p.m. You wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, stay up till 2 p.m., sleep until 4 o'clock in the morning. It's a totally reasonable sleep schedule, if you ask me.
Could really, you know, a lot of great jobs that let you work from, you know, 3 p.m. to, well, I guess you could work third shift. That's a real thing.
That is a real thing.
I did that once for a little bit. It was not my cup of tea. Have you ever done that?
I didn't like it. I believe so. I mean, third shift, where you're talking like 2 p.m. to.
No, third shift is usually like 8 p.m., 8 or 9 p.m. to like 5 in the morning or so. It's still 9 to 5, or like
that's
11.
That's what Zach's working.
Or 11 to 7. That's another one. But it didn't work really well for me. I was curious. Have you ever had to work a job like that?
Not those hours. I mean, I've had to do like the odd shift of that. Like when, for instance, we were doing like brunches or not brunches. I don't know. It's hard to like. I've done like an odd shift like that for like doing, for instance,
some one-offs.
Temp work is when I would do those types of shifts. But Zach's doing those types of shifts right now. He like.
How does he like it?
It's I don't know. I mean, he just started it up again. Like he worked it for like 2 shifts, and then like had to take time off from the job because of reasons. And then he just started again like a couple hours, like a month or 2 later. So I'm not sure he's had a chance to really get acquainted with it. But,
okay. I didn't know it was new to him the first time too.
Yeah. Well, he like did it for like a couple of shifts, and then they just had him off duty for like a month or 2.
Gotcha. So when I did it, I was younger. It was like early 20s, and when it became an option to me, I was like, oh, awesome, this is going to be great, because now I never have to say no to any plans. You know, yeah, most of the time I'll have to sleep, but I was also, 20, so I was like, I can live off like 4 hours of sleep, and did occasionally. But so I did that, and I'm like, great. Anytime friends want to hang out, I'll be home because I don't work during the day or at night, blah, blah, blah. But then I found out that, nope, that doesn't work that way. I just slept all the time and never saw the sun, and it did not work for me very well, and I hated it.
Yeah. It's gotten in the way of our Dungeons and Dragons playing, because we normally used to do them when did I do Dungeons? Tuesdays, I'm pretty sure. We did Dungeons and Dragons at like 9 p.m. or something like that, but now he goes to work at like 5 p.m. So that don't work. So we've had to figure out some new scheduling.
It makes it very hard to kind of... I thought it'd be easier and end up being harder to like coordinate with people.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just wasn't for me.
Nope.
Now, if I'm like working from home, it's not as bad because I can kind of plan ahead in the grand scheme. Captain Sheepy says, yeah, I'm always teetering, and all it really takes is one night of me staying up until 5 a.m. to mess up everything for like weeks at a time. Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, both have their perks, but it just depends what works for you. I feel like there's no right or wrong answer. Society likes to, depending on where you're at, shame you for being one or the other, but honestly, it's just whatever works for you and around your schedule. There's certain aspects I like about both. They say, coincidentally, I recently got a bunch of GURPS books, and I've spent my day giving them a look.
GURPS. Until Captain Sheepy posts in the chat what they stand for, let's come up with some acronyms.
Okay, so I think GURP, well, you go first.
Good Uncle Raisins and Peanuts. This is...
How can I beat that? Alright, generic universal role-playing system.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So they're like...
Have you heard of that, Ian?
I think those are like just the names for like tabletop like D&D books, like. I'm assuming. I'm Googling it now.
Well, we don't need Google. We got Captain Sheepy, unless we don't want to put you to work. But if you want to explain it to us, I'm interested. I've been recently playing some D&D with a good group, and we've been having a great time. So, more interested than ever.
So yeah, it's basically, as Captain Sheepy says, it's basically like tabletop role-playing games, but like you can, like, I have friends who have like a D&D game sort of thing going on, but it's set in the Stranger Things universe. So instead of doing it, it's not Dungeons and Dragons, it's more of a generic universal role-playing thing and the systems that they use. And so that's the type of books that Captain Sheepy's talking about.
It's pretty cool.
It's what Fallout 1 based its system off of, in fact. They said.
Oh.
Well, they said fun fact. I said in fact, but that is a fun fact.
I had fun hearing that fact, so I would agree.
I had fun reading it.
Oh, wow. I am more interested than ever in learning, and I'm learning more every time I play it, but more interested than ever in DMing. It sounds like it'd be really fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's also exhausting.
I know it'd be a lot of work. I'm aware of that. I'm also worried that I would get too obsessed with the work and it would like overtake. I'd be like, I don't have time for commissions. I'm busy setting up my D&D game that I do for free. Because I would want to like draw all the maps and everything, and it's too much.
I was that way at first too, and then I just ended up getting involved in too many D&D games, so now I'm just like, oh, I got a few weeks off, like, thank God.
Yeah, I know. That's why, I don't know, I just basically told our DM down the road I might, like, take our group on a campaign and he can be a random guy, and then I will give it back to him. But I don't know, I would like to try at some point.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun, and especially, like, if you're a creative person, and you play like D&D, you do eventually get the bug. You're like, ooh, I want to run a campaign.
Yeah. The thing is like for the amount of work I wanted to put into it, it would probably like not be like this thing that happens and there's just no evidence of it. It's gone.
Yeah, it's kind of what happened with the campaign I've been running. Like, I could technically turn it into a format that other people could use it, but I don't feel strongly enough about my campaign to do such a thing. But also, another interesting thing about like DMing and like getting ready is like, for instance, when I first started my campaign, or before I even started actually playing it, I spent like a whole day just like getting shit together, getting maps ready, getting like plot points figured out, thinking like they were gonna breeze through all of this in like the first act, in the first like session or whatever, and then we didn't even get to like a fraction of it, and it took us like six sessions for like us to actually get to the point where I was like, oh, I don't have anything planned anymore, and so
it went in a different direction than you were planning probably too.
It did. Like there were some sidetracks, and at one point they like unlocked a locked well. And, like, I just put the well there as, like, flavor text, and they were just like, I want to get in the well. And I was like, yeah, all right, you go in the well. Like, I mean, you unlock, like, he rolled to unlock it, and then he rolled like a 22. So I was just like, well, I mean, I feel like that unlocks the well.
Right.
So I just real quick, like, went to this website. There's this one website I use that, like, they do a lot of, like, random gen things for Dungeons and Dragons purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went there and fucking came with a bunch of shit on the
Speaking
spot.
of the well, Hidden Pixel Play says, well. If it isn't Drumbo, and I hope they said well, like as a pun. Maybe they didn't, but then they said, also good time because it was me who went in the well.
I would be surprised if that wasn't a pun.
You summoned them.
I did. I conjured them out of the ether. Captain Sheepy says it's been 5 years since they've done any TTRP stuff, and they want TTRPG stuff. They want to get back into it. They've thought of looking for groups on like Roll20, but they like playing with folks they know. I mean, that's definitely
Yeah. I'm not sure I could loosen up enough to play with strangers personally.
I've played with strangers, but they're like people like
Friends of friends.
Friends of friends, or like
yeah, I can do that. But
yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't play with a full. I did it once and it was pretty fun, but I don't know.
Playing with a full group of randos would be quite the experience.
It's also quite a, you don't know how it's gonna go.
Oh yeah, you could have like a whole bunch of terrible people, and then you're like they're doing like your character can be evil, but you can be a good person in real life. But when you're playing online, you might find a bunch of terrible people, and you're just like, I don't know if these people are actually terrible in real life, or that's like the players they're playing as. But I don't like this. Let's see. Strangers are hard to vet. Yeah, like strangers are always hard to vet. Like when we were doing Jackbox games, we'd have like rando strangers joining in on the stream and then like playing the game. Yeah. And we're just like, oh.
I learned my lesson and I blocked the code, but there was a couple times a few slipped in, and then we're just like, well, I hope they're not Nazis. We won't know until they put their answers into Quiplash. Fortunately, they weren't Nazis, but
Yeah, thankfully we managed to be pretty Nazi free, which is a good thing.
That's all you can shoot for.
Absolutely. You'd think it'd be a low bar, but nowadays...
In this day and age, all you can ask is that they're not Nazis.
Yeah.
Anything above that is, you're asking too much.
Exactly. You're being greedy then.
Hidden Pixel Play says, Brandon, I'm going to have you on Bruncheons and Dragons at some point. Is that a real thing? Do you have a podcast or something?
Yeah, it's like a podcast. Well, I mean, I'd be happy to let Hidden Pixel Play explain it, but I could also explain it because I know. And I'm also going to be on in an upcoming episode. Basically, it's like a brunch time Dungeons and Dragons live stream podcast show thingy. And the last one was like a Santa's Workshop type scenario. And he said that the upcoming one is going to be like a heist with everyone's a different type of rogue, and it's like a heist.
I should show him the drawing I did of our Christmas campaign we did.
You should. I did actually tell him about it. I messaged him on Discord and like told him what you had said about it because I figured he would get a kick out of it.
Over Christmas break, so to speak, after I finished my commissions for the year, I did a drawing that took way too much work, but I was pretty happy with how it came out.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to put it up on the screen,
yeah,
we don't really ever show our.
I could post it on the Discord or on the Twitter or something.
Oh yeah, that's a good reason for people to join the Discord. I mean, everyone who's in the chat right now is on the Discord.
Yeah.
But for those who are
I'll post it in the Discord
watching
in a minute or in a little bit. But yeah, we had a Christmas episode as well. It involved us killing. Well, the character's name was Kringles, but it was Santa. And then also, he had a whole bunch of gnomes locked up in his workshop where he was forcing them to make toys dressed as elves, so to speak. And they were very offended by the fact that they were being referred to as elves by him. And then
did not like it.
Yeah, and there was some other stuff that happened as well, but it was great.
I'm gonna be a Danny Ocean type of rogue for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's Maddie F.
Got Maddie F in the chat.
Maddie F in the chat.
We got all of the DrawBomb VIPs here today.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm gonna be a Danny Ocean type rogue for this heist episode of Bruncheons and Dragons coming up. I also have a couple other character ideas in mind for like, because the nice thing about one shots, and Hidden Pixel and I talked about this before, but the nice thing about doing like one shots is you can kind of come up with like a more ridiculous character than you normally would, because you know, like you're only confined to that character for like one session. So like if you want, like for instance, the one character who's the one player who's done a couple of one shots with Hidden Pixel, he's told me about this, but their character was a wizard who was turned into a baby. So it's like a floating baby.
It's awesome.
And it'll talk like a wizard, but then every once in a while the wizard will get distracted by like a baby thing like shiny keys or something like that, and then he'll start doing that.
Wizard brain and baby brain.
Exactly. So like
I've never gotten the chance to do a one-off, but that sounds so much fun.
Yeah, like you can kind of pick a more ridiculous character, and that's not as like if you had to play as that character like multiple times, like
you get annoyed.
Yeah, exactly. You get annoyed. You'd be like, "Can I switch out? Can you kill me, please?" But you know, if it's just a one shot, then you get to be like a little bit more ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like for instance, the one time one of our a couple of our players dipped out, and I didn't want to like continue with a bunch of missing players, so we just like sort of on the fly did a one shot. I did like the random gen website, got a dungeon, and we all like rolled random characters. So I was Sam the Eagle from the Muppets. It's because I thought that'd be goofy to play as, and yeah, it was.
Boy, how did he get himself into fantasy situation?
I think he was part of a puppet show, and then he ran out, and then he ran into the group in the dungeon or something like that. I forget what the backstory I came up with was.
Maddie F says, "Am I supposed to draw the penis?" Which is a Family Guy reference.
Yeah.
Early.
Do I have to draw the penis? I forget what's the like. There's like it's like a three.
Yeah.
Like a 3 repetition joke too.
I know.
Like
I'm trying to remember what it is too. I'm sure Matt will know, but it's Do I? Oh yeah, the last one he's a conductor, and he goes, "Do I conduct with my penis?"
Conduct with my penis.
Hidden Pixel Play says, "Silly character shticks get old in a full campaign, especially when things get emotionally heavy, but they're great for a 3 to 4 hour session." Yeah, that does sound good.
Yeah.
Says, "God, I'll treasure your Sam the Eagle for the rest of my life." You gave him.
It's not a very good Sam the Eagle, I'll be honest though. It's like when I was coming up with like a character, I pictured like Sam the Eagle. That should be a fun character I could, you know, mock the cadence of pretty easily, and then it ended up not being as thrilling of an impression as I would have liked it to be.
Well,
but
Hidden Pixel Play is a fan, so
well, I'm glad to hear it.
If you impress the god of the world, then I think who else is there to impress? The answer is no one.
A girl I want to touch my penis?
Was she in the...
No.
No, well then, no.
Well, that's who else there is to impress.
They don't exist in a D&D world.
Oh, true. No, not in any world I've been in.
Technical difficulties, folks.
You know, like bring up like the pew pew pew.
Yeah.
Don't we have like a really sweet DrawBomb technical difficulties?
We do. I should for comedic timing, I should set it up so I can just click a button and switch over to it. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I also need to get a soundboard going. You know, up the production value on this.
Up the production value. You know, like really get some things going. Like for instance, have you downloaded the fully mixed versions of some of the tracks of DrawBomb?
No. Literally the easiest thing I could do that you've been telling me to do for over a month Not
Hey,
done
look.
here on the DrawBomb show.
As a person who hasn't installed this cable into the computer that's sitting right next to them, I know how that goes.
The cable sitting less than a foot away from its destination.
Yep. Also, where did this HDMI cable come from? What the hell? Okay. Here, HDMI cable. I don't have anything that's HDMI.
You don't have anything that's HDMI?
I mean, I technically have a Steam Link, I guess, but otherwise, like, I don't have any consoles. I don't have any. I don't really have any. I mean, my monitors are VGA.
Okay.
Which can do HD images, but you know.
Maybe you got really drunk and unhooked your like parents' TV or something.
Well, I used to have a PlayStation 3, and I used to have like a TV and a Steam Link, but all of those things, except for the Steam Link, have broken down over the years.
Damn shame.
I know. I have no luck with technology. Sometimes.
So, Ian, does this drawing bring back any fond memories for you?
You know, it does. Well, actually, okay, so I know you were looking for a joke answer, but I do have a
No, I'm
story.
open for any answer.
Okay, I do have a very funny story about figure drawing from college.
Okay.
First of all, I miss it because, like, doing figure
Great,
drawing...
super helpful.
So helpful. Like, I've been doing at least an hour or two of it. At least 4 Frasier episodes worth of figure drawing
I need to
every day. Highly recommend, because I feel like my character poses have gotten a lot better and feel
For
a lot
sure.
more natural.
It's funny how if you have like the basics down of drawing, if you do figure drawing for like not even a long time, like 20 minutes a day, like 2 days a week, you're gonna be dramatically better by the end of the month. Like it's
100%.
a fast. You see instant results. It's just your brain makes connections usually where you're just like, oh shit, I've been doing that wrong.
Yeah.
Here's how it looks.
So, and it's super helpful too. Like, I have always been like that kind of person where I've also been like, I don't like. I like it when the person stands there for 5 minutes so I can really draw the thing. But what I've lately been doing are a lot of 30-second figure drawings, because I've actually found, like, at first I was doing it as a formality. I was just like, teachers told me I should do it, I might as well do it. And then, like, I was doing that for like a week, and then by the end of the week I had come to the realization, like, oh shit, when I do like the condensed 30-second figure drawing, like, all of a sudden my brain shuts off and it's all like
Autopilot.
bam, yeah, it's autopilot. And like, I ended up doing, like, because I was on autopilot, like, I was doing techniques to my, like, for instance, I'm gonna just draw up here in the corner real quick. When I first started doing figure drawings, like, I started doing this like beginning of last month. So I'd do like a figure drawing, and I'd start with like a stick figure, and I'd be like, wow, a stick figure.
Do you do a
Kinda
Wario
like-
impression every time you draw a stick
I
figure?
would. I'd be like,
Wah!
and so, like, I was doing that, and I was finding myself just not really like, sure, I'd get like a stick figure in, but it would look like a shitty drawing. And then, like, the one time I was like 3rd Frasier episode deep. I think it was the Steve Lodge episode. And then when I was doing the like on the autopilot, all of a sudden I realized, like, for one, I like did a thing, and instead of doing like stick drawings, I was doing like real rudimentary like shapes instead of like the stick figures. And, like, sure, it's a different technique than I've seen my teachers like be like, you should do this, etc., etc. But I also found that worked better for me, and it's all because I'd like done so many 30-second figure drawings that my brain shut off, and then I realized, like, on autopilot, my hand just did what automatically worked better for me.
Your
like, it
your
wasn't
eye
like
to hand like thing works better when you're like in that like trance, like when you're in the zone.
Well, that, but it's also just, it wasn't like a conscious decision to start doing
Right.
those shapes, which was interesting, because then it forced, like, afterwards I was just kind of like, oh my god, I've been doing stick figures, but, like, clearly I do this better if I do shapes. So it's like, it also forces you to make those sort of unconscious decisions. It's like if have you ever, like, had a really complicated thing, not like really complicated, but
I've
it's
had
like,
a lot of complicated things in my life.
me too, man. It's like, I can't think of a perfect example off the top of my head, but it's like happened before, where say you have one way of doing something, And then it's like if you were to, I can't think of
It's like if there was an old dog and you couldn't teach it new tricks.
And then you killed the dog and got a new dog.
You get a
and
puppy,
found that one.
you get a grief puppy to make up for the missing dog. And, you know, then you can teach it all sorts of things.
Blank slate, tabula rasa. No, but it's like you do something and then like you don't think about it for so long and you're just on autopilot, and then you find that you're doing it differently. Like your hands have automatically like made the process more efficient than if you were like thinking about it, you know? I wish I had a good. It's happened to me several times. Like tying my shoe is not a good example, but it's like if you were tying your shoe and your hands were like doing it fucking stupid, and then like you tied your shoe so many times that you go to tie it and then you do like the loop, swoop, and pull, like bing, bang, boom, done, and you're just like, oh my god, like my muscle memory is doing this better than my brain is doing this.
Yeah. This may sound scary to everybody listening, but for me that's like driving on the highway for hours. Like I'm not making a lot of I mean, I'm there for it. If somebody like if there's like a 30-car pileup in front of me, I'm paying attention enough that I'm going to hit my brakes in time. But at the same time, there's not a lot of thought going on there. I turn into a computer.
Yeah. It's just sort of like happening on the background while you're like doing, you know, looking at signs, looking at cows, thinking about song. Blah, blah,
I'm
blah.
looking at signs and cows the whole time.
That's what driving is, right?
Yeah. But I will say,
ALS windows. I don't know.
I think anytime you get stuck in one of those, like, you know, you have the way you do it, and it kind of stops you from, like, learning new techniques, but, yeah, eventually sometimes you break out of that, and by doing it a lot of times is how you do that. I think this is the one thing that I've heard 1,000 times in college and any kind of art class, and it's like very, very true, is that you just the simplest way to describe drawing, and it takes a little bit of training to get used to it, but you just break down everything into shapes. You look at like doesn't matter how complex the thing is, break it down into just like simple shapes. And I think forcing yourself to do those like 30-second figure drawings does that automatically, because you're like, I don't have a lot of time. What do I see?
Gotta get the shit out.
It's like if you're looking at something and you're like, all right, how can I represent this the best I can in 30 seconds? You know, you just go for the shapes. And I think that's what the whole intention is when they force you to do that.
Yeah, and it works. It turns out it fucking works.
Works great.
So like, lately I've been doing 30. Like I used to be like, oh, I wish I had like 2 minutes per pose because I can't get. Now like it's rare that I don't get like the thing done in 30 seconds, and then like what you're supposed to do is you get it done within that 30 seconds, and then the rest of the time, like if it's a minute long, 2 minute long, 5 minute long pose, the rest of that time is there for you to just like fucking finish that thing out.
Right. Once you get past those beginning art classes where they're just like teaching you how to create something on paper that you see in front of you and understand perspective, like the basic stuff. After that, it's just like practice, and the more you practice, the more you see it change like immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maddie F says Grief Puppy is the name of my new indie album.
I like it. Yeah, we do. I'm on Grief Puppy with Maddie F. We do covers of Sushan Stevens.
Oh yeah, you got some featured credits on that album, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I mostly do the singing, the Sufjan Stevens like type song singing that he does. I don't listen to a lot of Sufjan Stevens. I have like 2 of his albums actually, but like I haven't listened to them on repeat like I have some other things. He does very sad songs. Very what's the word I'm looking for? It starts with an M. Melancholy.
Maddie F just donated $2.22.
Oh,
God bless you.
I'm sorry, but we don't have any copies of Grief Puppy out on sale or anything like that. So,
unfortunately, I mean, that is the price of them. They were selling for $2.22 at the local record shop, but
yeah, it's like that bin you just find like the shit in Target where it's like they throw everything into like one cage, and you're just like, oh my god, what's this? Cheerleader Ninjas is $1 on DVD.
Well, thank you, Maddie F. We love you. We love you here.
We love you very much.
You got to be on the show soon, you know, if you want to be.
Absolutely. We haven't had Hidden Pixel Play on the show yet either. We should.
Oh, what the
should,
heck are we doing?
What
Not
are
doing
we
our job,
doing?
obviously.
I don't know.
You know, with another person here, we might be able to get more than one drawing done in a show.
Oh, I doubt it. Color should the background be? Is my current question.
Oh, I don't know. You can make like a kind of muted thing, and then make it look like there's a bunch of art hanging on the walls,
That's not
or
a bad idea.
like a critique room or something. That's
Like
a
where
thing
your head's at.
We all know about. We've all been there, right, guys?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Right. I speaking of which, that story about figure drawing. That wasn't the one I said before. Was not the story. But in my one class, which I did horribly in because of reasons I won't get into. But I was a bad student for a while in college. But the one class, we were doing oil paints and figure drawing. So like, this model was supposed to come in. She was supposed to basically sit in one pose for 4 hours at a time, and then we would draw and then paint and then basically make a whole painting out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And my painting was all right. I've done better oil paints than the one that came from that whole project, but again, it's not
It's a
the
class.
important part of
It's
the
not
story.
about,
Yeah. So she comes in and she sits down for 4 hours, and I remember her being a little fidgety. I mean, I really can't blame somebody who's supposed to sit
I
still
would
for
not
4
be able
hours.
to do that job. I mean, I'm
But,
great at sitting naked, but under a lamp for a
Yeah.
long time, that's where it becomes a problem.
So she's sitting there for 4 hours. She kind of moves around. She's like adjusting the earbuds in her ears and stuff a whole lot, etc., etc. Checking her phone, and I could tell it was kind of getting on my teacher's nerves. But I was just kind of like, whatever. It's not my. I don't care.
Right,
I'm trying to
what are you
get this
gonna do
drawing
about
done. So then she's supposed to come back the next week, resume the same pose, and we're supposed to just like finish the painting off over that next 4 hours. So next week, she comes in and she's dyed her hair. It's a completely different color than it was the last week, which is bad because we were all trying to learn oil paints to paint hair and also body and etc., etc. So it was just a very interesting experience where like you had one job and it was just to look the same between 2 weeks and not dye your hair.
And she failed at that task.
She sure did.
Hidden Pixel Play says, to be fair, I've been on almost every Jackbox episode, and we're happy to have you. We'll have you
absolutely
again in
right.
the future, I'm sure. Maddie F says, ooh, I'd love to do a Jackbox episode time. I'll have to pay attention. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's been an error on our part, but we've only started playing Jackbox with you a couple days ago, but you passed the test. That was an interview. You didn't realize it.
That was us making sure that you're not going to put inappropriate answers.
That you're not a Nazi. That's the one
Yeah,
thing we're worried
exactly.
about. And you're not, it turns out. So that's great.
Yep. And I mean, we wouldn't be friends with you if you were.
Right. That's where I draw the line. Everything else flies, but as soon as you admit you're a Nazi, you're out.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, we also, whenever we do like a Jackbox episode, it's almost always spur of the moment. Like, we're always just like,
Yeah.
you want to do some Jackbox?
But,
Yeah, if we can get enough people, let's do some Jackbox.
Maddie F, I don't want to lure you into posting your phone number on here or something, but but for the sake of contact, what do you prefer? If we are doing something like that, do you prefer text? Do you prefer Facebook Messenger? Do you prefer Discord? You let us know, and we'll just throw it out to you every time from now on, just in case.
What's your porn name? It's the last 4 digits of your social security number, the first 5 digits of your social security number.
It's a lot
your
of
mother's
numbers for a
maiden
porn name.
And well, haven't you ever looked at the names of porn stars?
I'm a 38433213333 Steel.
That's my OnlyFans. 3438333. I was trying to see if that's called.
No, I didn't think that deep into it.
Okay.
Facebook Messenger or text. All right. Cool.
We'll be sure to.
I make the
contact
mistake
you,
of
but-
messaging you on Discord a lot, but I'm like, I think Discord just is on all the time, assuming you don't turn your computer off. And I'm always messaging people like, hey, what's up? And then I'm just like, okay, bye.
I do that too. Like Steam and Discord, have both been that way for me, where they're just on if I'm around, or like sometimes I'll just like I turn my computer off, and this is probably bad for the computer. I turn my computer off like if I'm going to sleep for the night, but otherwise I'll just like walk away from it. I don't know. It's probably not. I think it was back.
Shut it off when you're not using it. Isn't that good for it?
I've
had computers in the past that I shut off every time, like done with them.
Yeah.
Or no, I said that wrong. I have computers in the past that I like just leave on like for like a year. They just never shut down. They're always on sleep. And I feel like it's got to be better for it to turn it off when you're not using it, right?
Well, I mean, like, I turn it off at the end of the night. Like, if I'm, like, gonna walk away and, like, walk off and, like, eat for dinner or, like, watch TV for, like, an hour or two, like, I'll leave it on. But, like, at the end of the night, I'll turn it off. But, yeah, I used to just leave that shit on for, like, a year. And I think that was worse for him back then when, like, it was kind of like running a miniature factory in your house.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, computers at like stasis level, as long as you're not like running a video game in the background or something like that, they're
just fine.
Yeah, they're fine. Although I still turn mine off like if I'm gonna go to sleep.
Yeah, if I'm done with it for the day, it's off.
Yeah.
And also like, just basically. Or if I'm done with it for like more than 4 hours, it's off.
Yeah, if I know I'm gonna be away for quite some time. I'll shut it off. But like if I'm just like, yeah, I'm still gonna be like in the house. Especially if I'm leaving the house, which I haven't done a whole lot in the last year. But you know, in a normal situation, if I were to leave the house and go somewhere, generally I'll shut that thing off.
Hidden Pixel Play also makes an important note that Jackbox only occurs from like 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. and that's true. It's very true. It's rare that we do it at reasonable hours.
Yeah.
It's always like an afterthought. Half the people are on something or other.
Yeah.
And we have a great time.
We do. It's a lot of fun. I finally got my parents into Jackbox.
Yeah.
I like had the games and I was just like, hey parents, like this is a fun family activity. Like we could do this as a family. And my parents were just like, ugh, games? No thanks. And I was just like, no, but I think you will enjoy these. They're not like video games, they're like party games. But they were still really not about the idea. And then the most recent time, which was I think Saturday, Friday, maybe. No, Saturday, it doesn't matter. But I got them to sit down and agree to play at least 5 minutes of games. And then I put on the You Don't Know Jack, which I figured would be an easy win because they used to play You Don't Know Jack back in like the 90s when they were also just computer games. Yeah. So I got those going, and then they were having a good time, and now they want to play You Don't Know Jack again. So I'm like, cool, well, at least they like the quiz games. So
nice. I think my family would dig it too. I've brought like my whatever system I have it on to like every family gathering for like the last 2 years, and just like one of these days they're gonna. So I keep suggesting it, and they're like, games, and then we're busy doing other stuff when everybody's together. And I'm like, one of these days you're gonna say yes, and you're going to realize you're all idiots, and I'm the only smart one.
Yeah, it's been the same vibe.
That's all I want.
They said specifically that they don't like games like Quiplash or like the ones where
My family would eat up Quiplash. I guarantee it. They would all love it, and they would all get down on their hands and knees and bow to me for bringing such a great thing to them. But I just have to get that far first.
Prometheus hasn't yet brought his flame to the people.
They still doubt me, but I'll prove I'm just patient. I know it will come, and the longer we wait, the more they will, realize the folly of their ways.
Nah, my parents are like super like I don't know why. I feel like Quiplash is a very fun game because it's like no pressure, just like make goofy jokes, and you think that is like the kind of thing that would work for anybody. But my parents were like, I don't like the ones where I have to be creative, and I'm just like,
some people get self-conscious, and that's no fault of them, but I feel like as soon as you loosen up and just like get creative with everybody and realize that nobody's gonna like judge you based on your answers and go, oh,
Yeah.
man, they just aren't funny enough. I hate them. Like that's not a thing that's gonna happen, obviously.
Yeah. I think Zach gets that way a lot because he'll be like, people actually like voted for my answers this time, and I'm just like, yeah, I mean that's the game. It's like, people sometimes vote for your answer and people sometimes don't. But I think some people really attach a lot of self-worth to.
Yeah, they get self-conscious of, oh, no one voted, I'm terrible, I hate myself. They go home and yell at themselves in the mirror. But ultimately, the scores, it's like whose line is it anyway? If something funny happens, we all win. If nothing funny happens, it doesn't matter. No one. I don't remember who said what after I'm done playing. I just remember laughing a bunch. That's all.
It's they've recently started saving the answers. Like if you play games on Jackbox, like they have it on like the page now where you can like revisit. Like
yeah, you can go back. Which I think is cool. It's fun.
I love that. I think it's cool, and because like there's like some great answers I like to go back to. But it's fun. Matty F says he blames everyone else for being unfunny if they don't vote for me.
Yeah.
Same, because obviously my answers are the best ones.
It's true.
And Hidden Pixel Play says that their family loves Gaspionage.
That's a good one too. We haven't played that one in a while.
Yeah. That one's interesting. So like the Clock Crew, they do Jackbox games every Saturday.
Really?
Hosted by Slurpee Clock. They call them Slurpee Saturdays.
I didn't know that.
Yep. And so I've joined in occasionally. And the one time we were playing Gaspionage, and I was just like, this one's fun, but it's also like the chances of getting a percentage on the dot are like literally 1 out of 100 because that's like
in the most literal sense.
Yeah. And then the one like answer that I had to guess a percentage for, I got it right on the dot. It was like 25%.
You got it 1 out of 100. Well done.
Yeah. It helped that it was like either 50%, 25%, like one of those really rounded, like nice and even, or nice and fractioned numbers. But still, it was very funny to be like, that barely happens. Oh, whoops, I did it. Okay, sorry.
Barely happens besides this.
Yeah. If you're not a fucking G like I am.
And you are.
You know it.
Everyone knows. So one of my New Year's resolutions is to drink more water. So on that note, I have to use the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Oh! That means I'm on my own again to talk. Hello everybody, and we're listening to me talk while I draw some squares on the background. I'm gonna hide a dick on these drawings in the background. Let's see how long it takes for Brandon to find one. Thank you, that's the new song for the DrawBomb backgrounds. I make all the music for the DrawBomb backgrounds, so if you want to hear more songs like I'm gonna draw a dick in the background and I hope Brandon notices, be sure to tune into our Spotify where I'm gonna be posting this album with all the hidden tracks. That's right, I got bars for days, son. I used to have friends who I'd smoke blunts with and freestyle while we played Smash Brothers, and then I got really good at freestyling. And then we didn't do that for like years, so now my freestyle skills are not as good because it turns out it's not as fun to freestyle by yourself, but I do it sometimes. I just usually choose not to show it to people. My New Year's resolution for last year was to pump iron and really work out, which I had started doing that September of 2019. Yeah. So like then 2020 rolls around and I'm like going to a gym on the regs, and then I stopped going to a gym because there was the chance I might die if I went to one, and I might end up killing a bunch of other people if I was in their proximity afterwards. So 2020 didn't get to do as much working out and stuff, and I was getting swole, bro. I was getting swole. But yeah, I just didn't work out that much. So 2021, still not gonna make the resolution to go into the gym. But my resolution for 2021 is to come up with a resolution.
Are we talking resolutions right now?
Nah, I mean, somewhat. I was just saying a bunch of shit that came in my head while I waited for you to come back. What was your resolution for 2021?
I'm trying to think of a jokey answer. Cry less.
Oh, see, that's not gonna happen for me. I told myself I would cry more.
Yeah, well, you know. Oh,
Yeah, more
did you do some
so much.
rapping in the midtime? I see someone wrote bars in the chat. What else going on?
I was singing a dumb song.
Okay,
For a
well,
brief
I won't
moment.
force you to repeat it, but
I think I mean, it's one of those things where you just like black out and you just say a bunch
Yeah.
of words.
I do that every
So,
day.
Oh, okay. Like what do you do when you
I wake
black
up in
out?
the morning, and then that's about the last thing I remember.
Are you lucid right now?
What?
Are you blacked out right now?
Oh, no, I'm not here. I'm not here right now.
Oh, okay.
This is like autopilot.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
never knew that about you, but it makes me wonder what you would be like if you were conscious for all of this.
I'm not that great to be around, honestly.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, me neither, though. I mean, it's a lot easier to deal with me when it's like over a screen, and then when you gotta deal with me in person, then you just know how checked out I am. Like, I'm just like,
I've dealt with you in person, and it's delightful. Let's just say that.
what's that? You said your dad's dead? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna keep it. Oh my god.
Oh, I gotta look at my phone. I just remembered.
New level in Candy Crush. Cool. But thank you. You're a delight to hang out with in person too.
We gotta get together with some of the DrawBomb VIPs soon.
That's
In
right.
person.
First
Great.
ever DrawBomb Con.
Boy, that would be. We'd only have to like rent like a hall.
Yeah, not even a hall. We could rent. We wouldn't have to rent anything.
No,
could
we just
rent
have to get like. We'd have to call a restaurant and be like, "Can I get a table for 6?"
Yeah. Can we just get like bread, like circulated every once in a while?
That's all we're gonna be ordering. We have no money, so just bread,
Oh yeah.
waters. Keep the waters coming.
Do you do bread here at Olive Garden? That's like one of the things you do. Okay, interesting.
Right.
Cool. I'm glad we chose this place then.
I
All
hope
right.
they have soup and salad.
too.
I guess we won't know though.
Do you have like a kids menu that has items like pizza or like just noodles?
I'll
mac
get
and
chicken
cheese,
tenders and French fries, please. Thank you.
maybe? Yeah, please. I only order off the kids menu. It's the best menu. Like,
I'm on
what
a
the
kids
fuck is
menu
this?
diet.
Pasta visual? Like, what the? You expect me to like eat things I can't even say?
Right.
Like, fuck you, Olive Garden.
Thought we were supposed to be family here. It seems like.
I thought we were friends.
I've been to Olive Garden
Olive
one time in my life.
Olive Garden used to be the restaurant like my parents would take us for my birthday. Because those fucking breadsticks, bro. And then also I got better at like knowing food. Like, I was a terrible eater. I mean, we talked about this before. I was a terrible eater as a kid. Like, I'd be like, if it ain't hot dogs and if it ain't chicken nuggets, like, I don't fucking want it.
Yeah.
And now as an adult, I love trying new things out. I love trying out new foods and things like that. But back in the day, Olive Garden, they had pizza, man. Like, and breadsticks.
I was that way too. I'm not sure what my parents did to successfully traumatize me or, open my eyes to all the other foods, but now I like everything. Maybe it was just being poor for a second. Maybe that's the answer to liking all food. Where you're like,
Yeah.
what is this? Is this safe to eat? And they're like, kind of. I mean, it'll give you cancer in 50 years, but it's food. And you're like, great.
Put it in my mouth.
No.
What was the big, like, change for me was being in college and kind of realizing, like, oh, if I don't eat foods, I will starve to death. And, like, I could eat mac and cheese every day, but it's still possible to die from starvation while also being full of mac and cheese. Like,
it's true.
so that was, I think, the big sea change for me. I think
He
was
starved
that
to death, but
realization.
he was fat as shit.
Yeah. It's
That's-
happened.
That's the most shameful death.
I
that you
think
can
so,
have.
right?
It's the most dishonorable death.
100%. Like, yeah, he only ever ate hot dogs, and
And now he's dead.
you know, death by chocolate, very real in this case.
Yeah.
Let's see, we have some comments in the chat. Superfly Draw Turo. That's it's like in Click when he fast forwards. Why do I know that? The local VFW. It is kind of like in Click where you black out. It's the next day already.
Right.
Like you just
And then you're like, oh, I miss my kids growing up.
yeah. Real sad. If only this
Dang
were
it.
all a dream sequence.
Where's Christopher Walken at?
Chris?
I want my money back.
I don't like this. I want off this ride.
That movie's like a little too absurd and stupid for how emotional it gets. And I'm not like faulting it on that because like it's not a terrible movie, but like I'm just like, why is this? It would be like if I cried during Billy Madison. It's like this movie's like fart jokes, and then they try to make you cry and
That's
kind of
what-
succeed.
That's what like Futurama and like Rick and Morty do
True.
a lot. It's
True,
like
they
a
do that.
very dumb.
It's that
show.
contrast. It catches you off guard.
Yeah, and then they're all of a sudden like, "Hey, so I know we just like farted in your face for the last 15 minutes, but what if feelings?" And then you're just like,
Matty F says, watch Big Joel's 1 hour video essay about Click. It's a wild ride. I will check that out, actually.
I'll be sure to check that out. And then Hidden Pixel Play says, "It's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten. Turkey heart is up there for them." I have to think about that one. I mean, we've eaten escargot.
Yeah, I don't think that one's that weird, though.
It's not
I mean,
weird, but it's definitely
snails,
unusual. Yeah.
but it's common. I've tried. Tried is the right word, because I didn't taste it and go, and then eat like 3 more of them. But I've had pickled pig's feet.
Interesting.
Or wait, was it feet? Yeah, it was feet. Or like an ear or something. I don't know. It was some pig scraps. Pickled.
Right. Yeah.
It tasted
Stuff that
like.
usually turn into a hot dog.
It tasted. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't ground up hot dogs. It was hot dogs in their pure form still.
Yeah.
And it tasted like ham, but it was like extra like tough.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And it's like ham's already cheap. Why am I eating this thing
Yeah.
that people like threw to their dogs for hundreds of years and now they jar it? That's a weird one.
That is a weird one.
What else? I've tried. I'm pretty like, and sometimes I get self-conscious about it because I'm like, does this mean I'm like, I like gross shit? I don't know. My standards aren't that high. Most things I'm pretty, at the very least, I'm content with them. And then like, you know, I have stuff like, I can tell the difference between really good food and not really good food. But like most,
Yeah.
I'm not picky. There's very few things that are like gross me out, or I'm just like, this is gross. I can't eat
Don't worry,
this.
we won't judge you if you like based on like what you tell us next.
No, I know, but so on that level, I can't. There aren't many things that I'm like, oh, I don't like this. Like basic things. Like some people are like, I don't like onions. I don't like olives. This or that. I like everything. The only thing.
Ew.
You're disgusted. The only thing I can remember in recent memory that I tried and was just like, oh my god, that's putrid, was like Limburger cheese, which is known for being putrid, but it's like
Oh yeah.
one of the stinkiest
point
of
of
the
it.
cheeses. It's pretty gross. Morgan, my girlfriend, when she went to Sweden, they tried this type of like, I forget what it is, and somebody in the chat might know because it's pretty like well renowned for being like the grossest thing ever. But it's like a Swedish thing. It's yeah, and it's like
I guess-
it's like a fermented like fish, I think, or something. But like literally, they just like opened the container and they were all like gagging. It's like that's how bad it is.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I saw iDubbbz eat that out of his fan mail in the one
Yeah.
YouTube video.
It's supposedly very disgusting, and I'm sure someone in the chat probably knows what we're talking about.
So I've eaten like weird ceviche before. Not like weird like it was sitting out for a while. It's just that ceviche is kind of weird, especially like, because the restaurant I used to work at was like always cooking up like bougie foods. So like bougie food is where you're gonna find like the weird shit. Because like you're rich, you're just like
you can get people to try weirder stuff when you tell them it's fancy.
Yeah, and also rich people are just kind of like, well, I could afford all of the hot dogs in the world.
I've eaten everything else. Give me something new I've never heard of.
How about some monkey brain today?
Armadillo-tail.
Yeah, so, you know, bougie food is where you're gonna find the real weird shit. So, I've had something called shrimp noodle soup before.
Is it... The words in the title seem like a normal thing that someone might eat. I feel like there's more to the story.
It's not. I mean, it was fairly normal. Basically, what he did was, like, you know how, like, people are like, ugh, pink slime, they turn chicken nuggets into chicken nuggets with, like, processed as hell, like, chicken that's, like, a pink slime or whatever. And I think that news report was even found to be, like, not 100% true or whatever. Like,
I mean, it actually used to be, like, processed into, like, a goop. But now, since then, they've changed things up because they got a lot of backlash.
They got a lot of backlash, but also, like, the pink slime thing, I remember reading was, like, they were kind of like, yeah, it was kind of like a hit job almost, where they were like, this pink slime shit is fucked up, and they were just like, no, this has been the way people make a lot of chicken products for, like,
I'm sure.
years now.
I don't doubt it. I can't imagine hot dogs or any kind of processed meat is any different, honestly.
Exactly. But it was basically like somebody turned a bunch of shrimp, processed the shit out of it with some like force meat, and like noodle-fied a shrimp and like other seafoods together to like keep the structure or whatever. But it was like noodles made of shrimp put in a broth, and it was actually really good. But like people really didn't like it because it looked like you were eating thin.
The noodles were made out of shrimp.
Yes.
Wow.
So they were, I mean, it was delicious in my opinion, but a lot of people were not fans because they were just kind of like, the fuck is this? And it's like, it's fucking shrimp, but like as a noodle, and like it's in a broth. Like it's honestly, it's delicious. You just think it looks weird because it looks like a pink Cheeto. And so, I mean, I've eaten that, and that was pretty weird if you, like, in the grand scheme of things, I guess, but, like, I don't think it was very weird. It was pretty good.
Not to out you here, but you're a self-described kind of picky eater, right?
I mean, I am a picky eater, or I have been more so than I am now. I mean, I'm not a fan of, you know, pickles or...
You're like, a lot of people, I think, I'm learning as I get older, it's more common. A lot of people are weirded out by texture, and you're that way, right?
Texture is a big deal for me, yeah. But, like, so, I mean, like, my parents have made a bunch of dishes in the last months or so that have, like, tomatoes in them, and I've eaten those fine. I didn't even, like, pick the tomatoes out or anything like that. Like,
tomatoes are wonderful.
If the tomatoes are part of the meal, and, like, I won't eat slices of tomato on a hamburger. Like, I just, for me, that shit doesn't jive. But also, if someone would put pickles on my hamburger, I wouldn't be like, this hamburger has to go in the trash now. It's like, it's fine.
You can just take the piece off and then eat it.
Yeah, or I'm like, if I'm feeling like risky that day, I'll be like, maybe I'll try this burger with my tomato on it, and then I'll take a bite, and then I'll take the tomato off.
And then you immediately puke on their floor and leave their house.
Yeah, and shame, and I never show my face again, and then I don't answer their newsletter.
Then you have to find new friends.
Exactly. This is why you're like friend number 7.
It's easier to be friends with me over the internet because it's harder for you to puke on my floor.
Hard to puke on your floor, and you can't really force me to eat tomatoes. Although I did eat a pickle when I was at your house.
Right.
That's a sex term, people. No. But tomatoes are fun. I mean, you know, like I'll eat. It's a texture thing. But like I've eaten like shit like especially at the restaurant where I have to know about the food that I'm trying to like put on people's table. Like they've made all manners of weird shit, and I've eaten it. The shrimp noodle was probably like the weirder one, just in terms of not being very typical.
Right.
But it tasted fine. It was delicious, honestly. But a lot of people did not like it because it looked like you were eating pink Cheetos.
How about our folks in the chat? Does anybody have any weird things they've eaten? I'm always interested in this topic, just because I feel like
Yeah.
I'm a little bit like I could be pickier. I feel self-conscious about the lack of pickiness. I'm like, well, maybe pick and choose what you put in your body. Don't just be like, oh, this is food, great.
Nom, 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 nom. I've eaten a lot of weird cheeses because we always serve like I've eaten like at least 7 different kinds of goat cheese. I mean, and goats,
Boy, love goat cheese. It's one of the
when I
best
think about-
cheeses.
they're pretty good cheeses. They're very creamy.
Yeah.
Same with sheep cheese. In Pixel Play says they've had escargot and mushrooms in a puff pastry and it was so good. He also says
That
there's a
sounds great.
fermented shark dish in Iceland. I have had swordfish, which isn't again crazy, but I feel like that's
that
not
with,
fish people eat very often.
Isn't that with Halle Berry?
She, not her. I don't think she does the blowjob, but like one time I was trying to hack into I was trying to join a group of hackers, and then all of a sudden John Travolta in a bad haircut held a gun to my head and then forced me to hack into a bank while somebody sucked my dick.
Right, I heard that's what it was like. That's why I haven't tried swordfish myself. But
So
I'm probably
good,
missing
like
out.
getting your dick sucked while hacking into a bank.
You know, maybe someday I'll try it. It's just, you know, I'm nervous to try certain new things.
I don't blame you. Plus, your girlfriend might not be super.
Right, she'd be mad.
I think so. Continued Hidden Pixel Play says there's a fermented shark dish in Iceland that you eat with schnapps. You're telling me a shrimp noodle dish soup?
There you go. The schnapps are so that you don't get grossed out. You stop caring. The drunker you get, the more you'll eat anything.
Yeah, the schnapps are what I'd be interested in most. I'd be like, leave the food, or keep the food, leave the schnapps. Am I right?
Maddie F says, Morgan fed me a heart from some sort of animal once, cooked and on a plate. It wasn't weird ritual or anything. That's what you think. You know, the cults have gotten a lot more lax. As long as you get the husband or wife to eat the heart, it doesn't really matter how they did it. They don't, you know, the Latin and all that stuff.
Ritual.
It's not as important as it used to be.
It's really about the nutritional aspect of it.
Right.
They want to make sure their cult members are eating healthy. You know?
They just want to make sure you don't have any, you know, heart allergies.
Yeah,
There's
or
a lot
heart
of
conditions.
future. Once they finally get you in, there's a lot of circumstances that involve hearts again.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a common theme.
Hidden Pixel Play also says alligator jerky, some sort of fish cheek turkey heart.
I had alligator once. It was like some Cajun themed restaurant or something, and I was like, well, I want to. It wasn't really the thing on the menu I wanted the most, but I was just like, I want to eat a dinosaur at least once.
Yeah.
So I ordered the alligator. It was pretty good. It was just like fried like alligator bites. It was nothing.
I
too
remember
crazy.
after you ate
probably
the
remember that conversation.
alligator, you messaged me and you were just like, I've eaten alligator. And
I
was
ate a
like,
dinosaur.
oh shit. So then,
important.
you know, I couldn't let that abide. So, like the very next day, I used to work for like this guy who was printing T-shirts in like his home, just like designing shirts and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, we finished working for the day, and he's just like, "Hey, do you want to like go to a bar, get some food, or some shit like that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." So we went, and then I saw that there was crocodile nachos. So then I got those because I was just like, Brandon just had fucking dinosaur yesterday.
Right.
I'm gonna eat fucking dinosaur
You felt
today.
inferior because I had eaten a dinosaur and you hadn't.
That is absolutely right.
And you know, I had felt inferior to everybody else who had eaten a dinosaur and I hadn't. So
now
I
it's
just
a
wanted
level
to
playing
be-
field.
Exactly. Now, when I go to a job interview, I can shake that man's hand with confidence because, you know, we've both eaten dinosaur probably.
You've eaten a dinosaur before, right? You fucking know I've eaten a dinosaur.
Literally, I hand him my resume and it's a drawing of me biting eating an alligator. And
Just
they're
like-
like, God damn it, you're hired.
Yeah, I
Can
hope
you
you
start
took
tomorrow?
a big. I hope you took a big bite out of a whole alligator's hindquarters, like you are in this picture right here.
Him Pixel Play says, "Oh, I had alligator gumbo in Savannah, Georgia. It was incredible. Yeah, it's good. Every time I've eaten a reptile, it's been pretty good. Surprisingly, haven't tried snake, haven't eaten a turtle, but I imagine it's probably pretty good. Turtles got to be good, right? They can't move very fast, so there's got to
They
be
make
tender.
turtle soup.
Yeah,
Turtle soup's a thing.
right. I'm familiar with that. I just would feel bad about eating a turtle.
Yeah,
They
those
can't
things
really
are like
escape.
100. No, they can. It feels
Yeah,
like
and they're and they can be very old. So it's like wow, it's like veal except they're 1,000
Yeah,
and they can't get away.
it feels like I would feel the same way about eating like a turtle A turtle.
A turtle.
A turtle.
Can I have
Like
the
I would
turtle soup?
eating an elephant. Like, this creature is very wise, and I chose to kill it to eat it.
Right, it seems wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, it's lived longer than me, I don't get to eat it.
Yeah, it's earned the right to not be eaten by me.
Right. I would hate to be eaten by something like a third of my age, like a child. Granted,
Right,
if something's gonna eat me, it will be probably like an animal.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
like basically, like, if I died in my house and I had a dog, I would hope my dog would eat me to survive.
Right.
But you know,
Why not? You know, I love my animals, so
let
I'd
me give them the gift
rather
of
they
life.
not be hungry. They can't work the knob to get into where the cat food is, so I hope
Yeah.
Theo eats my head. All right, are you done with this drawing?
I'm pretty done with it. I noticed you put an A+ on my hidden dick drawing.
I did. Wasn't that hidden? It seems.
No, it was right smack dab center in the drawing. That was what my sick bars were about, by the way. Was how I was gonna hide a dick drawing in the background.
Oh, well, it's not really hiding it if you rap about it on the show. But I
Well,
was.
you weren't there.
You were just hiding it from me.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. I put that A+ on there like the moment I came back. The record will show on the VOD. Maddie F says, it's not the same thing, but I had no idea I liked baked beans until like 6 months ago. Did you think you didn't like beans, or you just didn't like baked beans? Because baked beans are just basically beans in like barbecue sauce or whatever, some kind of gravy.
I wasn't a fan of refried beans for a while. I like them fried once. Why do it again? That's a mid-head brick joke. But
It's overkill
no,
at this point.
that's right. Yeah, it's a little bit too much heating. But my parents made refried beans all the time, and then like as a kid one day, I think I just had they made a bad batch of refried beans, and like you're a kid, so you have a thing that you don't like once, and you're like,
Right.
Never again.
Ruined for life.
Yeah, so I didn't eat refried beans for a while, but like, you know, I'm back living with the parents. They make refried beans all the time, so like I was just like, it's beans, like I'm just gonna eat it, and yeah, it's fine. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it's fucking beans. It's fine.
You know, I don't want to like eat a bowl of refried beans, but it's good as like a condiment, so to speak, for certain food.
We usually use it as part of the like if we make like tacos or something.
Yeah,
like that.
that's I think that's the correct way.
I've got this technique, and I know this is like I'm the only one who does this.
You invented this? All right, here's an exclusive for the show, everybody.
Here's exclusive. But what I do is, like, you know those hard shell tacos that like crack and break apart in your hand after you take your first bite?
Yes.
So what I do is I put a layer of refried beans first, and then I put all the taco stuff on top of that. Usually cheese second, then the meat, then more cheese, and then lettuce. But that way, when you take a bite, the refried beans have sort of acted like a glue and almost made the taco shell bottom part that would break apart and fall in your hands and stuff like that. It's made it a little bit more pliable. So if you put refried beans at the bottom,
if you want to up your game a little bit more and ingest more carbs, which we all do, you can do the refried beans on the outside and then put a soft shell taco around your hard shell. And, you know, amazing things happen after that. Maddie F says, never ate them. It was life-changing. I think of my life in terms of before baked beans and after baked beans. Yeah, baked beans are great.
Yeah.
Especially like homemade ones with like, it's if you get like a jar of, or like a can of baked beans, they put like one like square. It's like finding the prize at the bottom of the cereal. They put like one square of like bacon in the whole entire can.
Oh yeah.
But if you get like a homemade one with like actual real bacon and not like one weird like thing, that's great too. I haven't had that in a while, but I had some family that used to make like, that was my aunt's thing. She would bring like homemade baked beans, and those were great stuff. Your whole comparison of before baked beans and after baked beans remind me of the first time I rode a jet ski. And I was just like, what have I been doing up until this point?
My jet ski-less life.
Jet skis are great. It's one of those things like, I don't know if I probably will never own one, but it's just one of those things like, everything should be means to an end, the end being riding a jet ski.
I agree. my whole life has been for me to eventually get the opportunity to ride a jet ski.
Have you ridden one?
No.
You'll get there, brother. Took me a while too.
Gosh, I hope so. I wanna be one of those people who rides a jet ski on those skis, and then.
That's okay. You're getting your skis mixed up. There's a lot. Now I understand why it's confusing. There's a lot of different skis when it comes to water, but you see, jet ski is like you're riding a motorcycle in the water.
Wayne jet ski?
No, that's a whole different thing. That involves skates, and you're saying it wrong. And then there's water skis, which are a very different thing. You have to be pulled behind a boat. You maybe could be pulled behind a jet ski. I'm not sure.
I was thinking of water skis.
Yeah, but no, water skis. I did that once too, and I wish I hadn't. but jet ski, no, that's the stuff.
Jet skis are what they refer to as sleds on Letterkenny. Am I right?
I don't know. That's probably snowmobiles, right?
Yeah.
Because they're in Canada.
Yeah, no, it's snowmobiles. Well, I'm just gonna Google jet ski real quick because
you've seen one before. You're not gonna be surprised when you
jet ski.
You might
Wayne
not.
Jetski is a musical artist, by the way. I just found that out.
Oh,
So,
good for him for being clever.
Yeah. Jet ski. This is how. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's what I thought. It was the water version.
It's a motorcycle in the water,
Yeah.
and it's really fun.
Great for killing mammals like manatees and whales.
You know, I've never ridden one in anything that wasn't a lake, so I haven't been amongst the manatees.
Oh, why would you ride a jet ski if there weren't at least the off chance of killing a dolphin, you know? I mean...
Right? Well, you know, I live in Michigan, so we can enjoy jet skis without the threat of being eaten.
That's so weird. I don't know what that's like.
I remember
I've never ridden a jet ski.
I remember when you came out to visit and we showed you Lake Michigan and you guys were confused.
We're like, this is the ocean, right?
You're like, no.
No, this is a lake.
What kind of lake is this bullshit? Quit lying to me. Thought you respected me.
God damn it! I can't believe I've been catfished truly this time.
One of those things that I forget is weird to people because it's just like the ocean to me was like, another lake. I always like see movies and stuff where they're like, the first time I saw the ocean, and they're all like, and then I went and actually saw the ocean for the first time after like a number of years because I was, you know, lived around all these lakes and I was just like, okay, seen this before, big deal. Then I jump in, I'm like, ugh, tastes like shit. And then a jellyfish stings me. I'm like, ugh, this place sucks. Take me back to the lake where all it is like bluegill, and you know, it's a good time.
My favorite part about stepping into the ocean is getting seaweed on your leg and it being the grossest thing ever.
That happens in the lake too. That's one thing that's universal.
Yeah, that's true. We have a lake here. Here's the thing, like I've actually grown up near a lake my whole life as well, Beltsville Lake in Pennsylvania. And it's not like the Great Lakes, I'll tell you that much. You can see the other side of Beltsville.
Yeah. Well, I'd say that's most lakes, right?
No, it's pretty much every lake, I think. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of
handful
lakes.
in the world.
I've seen about 2 lakes.
Overseas there might be there's some more. Maybe they're called seas at that point. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way. Maddie F's or Hidden Pig's Place says I love jet skiing. Me too. It's great. Maddie F says my dream is to clean up Garbage Island. I think I read somewhere that if you get all the trash off of Garbage Island, you get to live on Garbage Island.
But wait, if you get all the trash off of Garbage Island, then there is no Garbage Island to live on.
What?
This doesn't make sense.
What? No, I know. You get to pile up the trash on land and lay on it.
Oh, okay. Man, look at all these syringes. Oh, yeah. Garbage Island. I'm into life. This is the drawing of me riding a jet ski and killing a bunch of dolphins.
The one looks pretty happy, but maybe he dived out of the way in time. He's pretty psyched about that.
Yeah, I wanted to add a bunch of blood coming out of the dolphins, but I was kind of like, nah, these are kind of cute dolphins. I don't want to fuck with
Right.
them.
Yeah. They don't deserve that.
No, couldn't do that to them. Look at their
Save the
faces.
porpoises.
That's right. It's our
It's our porpoise.
It's our porpoise in life. Hi, welcome to DrawBomb, also known as low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. We round off all the jokes that everybody's already thought of and probably said multiple times.
Yeah. Including Wayne Jetski, apparently. One of Wayne Jetski's songs is called Toxic. And I'm curious if it's like a cover of the Britney Spears song.
God, I hope so.
I'm gonna
No
find
original
out.
ideas from Wayne Jetski. His name is Wayne Jetski and he does covers.
I would not be surprised. This video is starting with... Looks like he's picking up trash. Garbage Island. Before skipping past the intro where it's not music. This came out actually 2 months ago. Okay. Nah, it's trap music.
We've pointed out this before, but we have some people dropping emojis in the chat. For all the emojis you post, they appear on screen like magic.
Whoa!
I know. Technology finally found a way.
Hey,
So all the more reason to spam the chat and make it seem like there's more people here than there are.
please, that helps our algorithm, I think, right?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't know how it helps our algorithm. If I knew, fixed it by now.
I think if we just delete the account, that'll help our algorithm. Probably get a few more views.
It's true. Well, if we gotta get canceled. That's how people are gonna know we exist.
Right. Well, we've been trying actively, it seems like.
I've said so many cancelable things.
Right. I've canceled you personally. A number of
You have, it's
episodes.
true. It's people refuse to cancel us, and I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Pikachu's in the chat.
There it is. Did they appear on screen?
I
I missed it. I wasn't looking.
I
guess we'll
don't
never
think I turned the stream back on just in time to miss it. But just remember, folks, if you're a true DrawBomb aficionado and fan, lips in the chat.
Oh, Maddie F just posted an emoji of what looks like me going, heh.
That does kind of thing.
Great. I'm glad that Twitch is finally recognizing.
It's from Big Joel.
Oh, well, fine. God. Damn.
Lips in the chat, folks. Lips in the chat. If you don't know what that means,
Lips in the chat, everyone. This is the part of the show where we say that thing that we just said. And people
We
do
said
stuff.
it like an episode ago, and we're saying it again. Lips in the chat.
Boy, people get. I'm opening letters every day. People are excited about lips in the chat.
Lips in the chat, man. That's our first T-shirt, I think.
Hidden Pixel Play is, the energy is there. The execution. But
It's like a person who's like in a crowd, and everyone's like, "What?" And then he's just like, "Whoa!"
Maddie F just dropped a Shrek in the chat.
Shrek's in the chat.
Shrek's in the chat, everyone.
That's right, everybody. Shrek's in the fucking chat. If this were like that, what's that one? It was popular for like a hot minute. I don't think it is anymore. But there was like this one like live streaming application where you would. I don't remember what it was called. I saw like 5 YouTube videos about how dumb it is, and it was like a bunch of like people basically like sitting on screen, and then like they're like, all right guys, for the next 30 seconds I want everybody to donate emojis, because you had to like pay money to the person who posted an emoji or whatever, and then it would just be like 30, like they'd be like counting down 39, 38, 37, oh my god, let's get more of those emojis in the chat.
Why didn't that
36.
platform succeed? I can't imagine.
Dude, I don't fucking know.
Maddie F says you need a runch emote. I agree. Were you there? Did you play Tabletop Simulator with us and Maddie F? There was a big bottle of ranch that said runch on it, and somebody added it to like the I don't know, the models you could spawn, and we'd be playing a board game, and all of a sudden this giant, like, baby-sized bottle of Runch would just drop onto the board and ruin everything. Harvest Valley Runch. And I agree. If we, you know, we can't unlock more emojis until we get more, like, followers and stuff. Subscriptions. They kind of gatekeep it pretty hardcore.
Yeah, like, Discord's been offering up a free month of Nitro, but they're like, you just put your credit card info in and don't forget to unsubscribe, and you got a free month of Nitro, and I'm just like, I know you're fucking game, Discord, but also, if I were to get Nitro, I could technically donate to the DrawBomb Discord, and then we could get, like, an emoji or, like, a header or something. Like, I'm on, like, a couple servers where people donate their Nitro points or whatever to the server, and it gives you things like, you can have an icon, you can blah blah. It's kind of like, that sounds cool, but I also would feel bad if somebody like spent money for us to be able to like put a header.
I want them to spend it organically.
Yeah, I want them to spend it on me, not on my fucking Discord server, man. Jeez.
Man, I can just make a fake account and buy a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. So why haven't you? No.
Good question.
Pikachu's in the chat, everybody.
Pikachu's in the chat. This is the part of the show where we say Pikachu's in the chat. Comes shortly after the Lips in the Chat segment.
That's right. We're also drawing Shreks. So Shrek's in the chat too, please. That's my Shrek. Did it.
That's him. I could tell because I've seen the movie, and that's what he looks like.
I like your Shrek because it looks like he's got femurs sticking out of his head.
Yeah, this is Shrek's brother. What would Shrek's brother be named?
Wreck.
Wreck. Okay, so that's the familiar part. Is that it ends with Wreck?
Yeah. Wreck. And then, their father. I'm gonna draw
Yeah, Wreck.
Shrekdom.
I think Solitude was like the whole thing they were going for, but I'm surprised in the many sequels there wasn't one about Shrek meeting like family.
I know, right? Like,
It's like, oh, there's another ogre, and he's like, what? I don't have family, and then they're like, no, we found your mom, and then
Shrek, your mom's here. That's
then he meets his whole family, and he's like, I don't like. He's like, oh, and they're like, maybe like the story would be they're super like, they love people and they're super inviting, and he's like, oh my god, this is not what ogres are like, and then nobody watches it.
Weird and like onions.
And then there's a thing with earwax in the beginning that we never do again for the rest of the.
Yeah, we don't have earwax problems except for in the beginning. I don't know why he's Russian.
He's changing.
His whole family's got like Russian accents,
Yeah.
and then he's just like a Scottish accent.
And then everybody's like, what? They're still making Shreks? And then Smash Mouth gets another check.
Yeah, don't. Well, first of all, Matty F says Shrek's mother is always going on about how his brother's a doctor. I could definitely see that happening.
That would be funny if he meets his family and they're all just like very like. They're like
Scholarly.
successful and like classy, and he's like living in a hut in the mud. And they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, this is what ogres do. And they're like, what? Why are you speaking an Irish accent? Where'd you... What is going on?
You grew up in Florida. No! Did you know that in 2020, Shrek was put in the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant?
I would agree, though. It is.
I mean, I think so.
Even though it's become a meme, regardless of that happening, it would have still, you know.
Yeah, I think Shrek is significant.
Yeah.
Weren't they planning on doing, on November 6, 2018, Variety reported that Chris Meledandri had been tasked to reboot both Shrek and Puss in Boots with the original cast potentially returning to reprise the roles.
What?
Cast members have reported that a script was completed for the fifth Shrek film. Development stalled and future plans have yet to be officially announced.
So rebooting a cartoon. I know it's been done, but usually it's not like. All I can think of is like live action. Otherwise,
Like
what do
live
you?
action reboots?
Which I think is dumb, also. But like, otherwise, other than that, what are you doing? Like, why are you rebooting stuff like that?
To start over, man. Because like, to be fair,
The money
They
stopped
have-
flowing in.
the money stopped coming in, but also like, I don't know, Shrek's married, he's got kids. Like, basically all you could do to continue Shrek at this point is like start it from the point of view of one of Shrek's kids grown up.
So you're saying same aesthetic and everything, just new stories in the Shrek. Like, they're making the Shrek expanded universe. They're going the,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Disney route.
This is Shrek's third kid, Shrekdom, and he's going on an adventure with a donkey named Horse. And they're friends much like his father. No, I don't know. It's just, you know, he's married, he's got kids. He's like, the last film is basically him being like, you know what? I like my life, I like my wife, I like my kids. I'm pretty good. I'm not, no more adventures for me. And like that was the end of the fourth Shrek movie. So like at that point, you kind of like you close the book on the whole franchise. So if they want to make more Shrek films,
We gotta start over.
you gotta start that shit over. I mean, you could always take. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how a reboot would work. Like, would they get rid of Shrek and Fiona being married? Because I think you'd also skip a lot of bullshit if you just put a bunch of movies between them having kids. And
It's about some other character in the franchise that's exactly the same, but it's a different character, so that you can have the same dynamic. And then Shrek makes a cameo here and there. And
What is this? Alternate dimension Shrek?
it's like every reboot. It's like I'm the son of that
Spider-Man.
character from that movie from 30 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Dad shows up. Oh, Dad! And then he's like gray, and then he just disappears for the rest of the movie.
It's like in Starsky and Hutch, when Starsky and Hutch, which I've complained about this before. Starsky and Hutch are there, they're hanging out, and then all of a sudden Starsky and Hutch from Starsky and Hutch show up and tell Starsky and Hutch, hey Starsky and Hutch, we're Starsky and Hutch. How are you guys hutching and Starskiing? And then they're just like, what is going on here?
It's like an Enter the Spider-Verse situation, but they're all cool with it.
Yeah, they're like, this is fine, we deal with this shit all the time.
The one thing that I would say is the most common situation they ran into on the old Starsky and Hutch show is interdimensional beings.
No, all the time. Don't you remember that? That's where the classic Starsky and Hutch line, shit, it's interdimensional beings again, comes
Yeah.
from.
And then Hutch is like, I didn't try interdimensional baked beans until recently.
And I gotta tell you, life-changing experience. You know what they should do? Is they should do a new Shrek, but they should do it like BoJack Horseman, where it's about his clinical depression and his working through it in a debased society that doesn't really allow humans to have flaws, but also he's kind of a rapist. Like
I think that would
BoJack
go over
Horseman.
well.
That would go over so well.
I feel like the only time I'm interested in even though you're doing a bit, reboots is when they kind of change the whole tone. Because otherwise, I'm like, I already saw this. I don't care how it looks. I don't want to see the same thing again. Like,
I thought the Star Trek reboot, when they did the new Star Trek movie with the new guy playing Kirk,
right,
and then like they made you real like it was a reboot already, and then like I thought it was cool how they were just like
made it all
different dimension. Yeah, they made it connect. I thought that was like the best way you could handle that reboot.
Pleases
possibly.
everybody, so to speak. It doesn't work in every. I mean, maybe you could have another dimension in Shrek, reboot, but I doubt it.
Or what if like the person closes like because Shrek begins with them opening a book.
Yeah.
And so like what if like Shrek.
The end. Slam, and then it's people who read Shrek.
And then it's Shrek reading him Shrek, and he's just like, "This is a bunch of bullshit."
That's not how it happened.
There you go. We just wrote Shrek 5, baby.
All right, waiting for those residuals to start.
Yeah, Mike Myers,
Rolling
where you
in.
at? Mikey M.
Mikey M, where's my check?
That's right. That's the next song coming out for DrawBomb. Mikey M, where's my check? I wrote for you the new Shrek. Okay.
Bars.
Moving bars. That's how you know. No, but I am okay with the concept of reboots as long as it's been like a decent amount. I mean, also, I don't know. I feel fine with reboots because I'm just like, fuck it. You know what? It's not another sequel.
Right.
You can do new things. That's interesting. But also at the same time, just like, fuck it. If you're gonna do a reboot, just come up with a new idea.
I mean, as much as I'd like new material, I think ultimately I'm okay with reboots because who cares? It doesn't mean I have to watch it. Make whatever you want to make. I don't care.
True.
You know, I'll watch the stuff that seems interesting to me. I will not watch the stuff that doesn't. And I'll watch some of the stuff that doesn't seem interesting to me because
Yeah.
I'm
If
bored.
I'm bored. Yeah.
So who cares? But yeah, I don't know. Do whatever you want to do, I guess.
Yeah.
Make your Shrek money.
Make
It won't
that
affect me.
fucking money, Shrek. Feed us
talking
all
about-
to the machine.
We've been talking about Shrek for an hour, so apparently it's still culturally relevant enough. Probably now more than ever because it became something else. It became a meme.
It became a meme, and I think I'm glad it became a meme because it felt like Shrek was already a meme back in the day, but memes just weren't around yet.
Shrek reached like that Garfield status.
Yeah, it really did. Like, I was like when I started writing for Game Rant, I was gonna write one of my first articles was gonna be if it hadn't gotten kiboshed, was gonna be how many times did your school show you Shrek, and what does that say about your local public education system? Which doesn't work so much if you went to like Catholic school, which is what you
Basically.
you told me.
Not exactly, but you know, close enough.
But I remember in 3rd grade, I saw Shrek in school at least 3 times. They showed it like once, I think because the teacher just didn't give a shit, wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
Once right before like, there were just those days where they were just like, I don't want to work. I'm a teacher. I barely get paid for this. So like,
What, I have to work every day?
yeah. It's like the day before like Christmas break, they just sat us down in the auditorium and we watched Elf, we watched an episode of Red Green Show, and we watched Shrek. And like, it was like, okay, so this is the second time I've seen Shrek in school this year. And then last day of school, Shrek. So I saw Shrek 3 times that year.
Maddie F says, yo, we watched Shrek in interpersonal communication class in college.
That's
Well-
now here's a funny thing. Well, you sound like you were about to say something.
No, go ahead.
Oh, so like when my teacher showed us Shrek, like right before like school summer break, my teacher was just like, you know, I think Shrek's a good movie because it's about people having to talk to each other about how they feel and things like that, and it shows you what bad communication is like and what good communication is like. And like even in class right then and there, I was just like, bullshit! You just want to watch Shrek with us. And so, it's funny though because interpersonal communication is basically what that teacher was talking about. So maybe he wasn't totally bullshitting when he said that.
Good on him to like at least try it. If he is
Try it
bullshitting,
over.
good on him to at least come up with like a thesis for why you're watching Shrek versus just being like, I'm hungover, here's Shrek. Like,
Okay.
he at least tried to make it seem like he was teaching, whether he was or not. I don't know.
Yeah. But it was funny. And then I saw him at a Led Zeppelin cover band like 5 years later, and he was like,
He was in it.
like, no, he was. I
He
mean, he was
played
just wearing a
bass.
t-shirt. Yeah, he was the bassist who looked like a guy from Green Day, but he was in a Led Zeppelin cover band.
You
No,
can't
but-
have the band without him.
You can't. He has to be there. No, but there was like this cover band. Not to talk about a Led Zeppelin cover band for a length of
ahead.
time, but like all the dudes were dressed up, long hair, weird like clothes with like open shirts and shit like that. Like they looked like they were basically trying to look like the vibe of like a 70s band.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
classic
and-
move.
Yeah, and then they had like one bassist who just looked like he was from Green Day. And I was just kind of like, this dude sticks out. Like, y'all
must be
had a
really good
visual
at bass
aesthetic
if-
going.
If he got to come along, he must be really good at bass because you can't kick him out.
Can't kick him out. He's too vital. He knows all the riffs. He knows how to play Moby Dick, man.
You need him.
We need him. The joke there, for those who listen to a lot of Led Zeppelin, is that Moby Dick is a drummer song.
I thought Moby
I
Dick
know,
was
it's-
a book.
No. It's a Led Zeppelin song, dumbass.
Oh man, I feel like an idiot.
Duh.
Call me an idiot.
I will. Idiot.
That's the first lyrics to the
What was
book
that?
Moby Dick. Call me Ahab.
Actually, the funny thing about Moby Dick is that Ernest Hemingway was actually super horny for that whale. Even though Ernest Hemingway didn't write it, he wrote Old Man in the Sea.
But he
did
just
write-
fun fact that Ernest Hemingway, unrelated to the book, was sexually attracted to the white whale in a Moby Dick.
Yeah. Did you ever hear about why mermaids might be like a thing in mythology?
Yeah, it has to do with what are the creatures?
Manatees?
Manatees, right?
Yeah, they would fuck manatees, and then they were just like, I didn't fuck a manatee, it was a mermaid.
So, in defense of these men who have been dead for hundreds of years, I don't think they were banging the manatees. I think
I
they
don't
were
think so.
they were like stuck at sea and they saw them swim under and they were like writing stories about something that looked vaguely human shaped. Or
No,
like,
I think it's one thing to see a manatee. I think it's a whole other thing to fuck a manatee. I think it's
it is a
way
whole other,
different.
there are very different things. I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I've seen my fair share of manatees, but that's where my relationship ends with them.
Yeah.
Maddie F says, so I'm fucking that manatee, and I mean I'm fucking it.
I'm like,
That's how the story starts.
that's right. Always does.
Also
yeah, I remember
known
seeing that
as the
Twitter
sea
post.
cow.
What was that?
Also known as the sea cow.
This is correct.
Which it's like, do we really need to like insult these
Right?
creatures?
That just seems rude. And I just remember seeing like the Twitter post, I think, where they're like, these guys are fucking manatees. And I was just like, okay, I know this is Twitter. Let's all calm down here.
You get excited when they think they have a hot take. That's kind of the whole gist. It's like a game.
Yeah. It's like if I could tell a bunch, well, and also if I could tell a bunch of people, like if I could tell a room of people about dudes who fuck manatees and that's why we have mermaids, like that's a great story. I
And
mean,
they all give you pats on, like thousands of people give you a pat on the back for telling the story.
good show. Would you like this snifter of mulled wine?
You're like, yes. And you're like, just kidding, there's nothing in it. That's your award. You get nothing. You just get
Just
to,
like-
you know, just put out an ad for your OnlyFans. That's all you get.
There's nothing and nobody in that glass, just like the amount of people who fucked manatees, you fraud.
Just lied to my face.
You lying slut. How dare you? Manatee sex. That's the name of this episode. What did we name it? We named it. Well, we didn't name
I
this
called
episode.
it.
We didn't
I
name
called
it.
it. I called it 2020 fun.
Oh, my episode titles aren't showing up. Oh, it's showing
Oh, I
up.
forgot
on
to
the,
put it in the
video.
on the actual thing. I've just been putting it in there. Okay, yeah, I'll be better about that. I'll buy you.
No, don't worry about it. 2020 fun.
The last one was called. I think it was called 2021 is gonna be worse, which is a
Yeah.
depressing title, but I don't know. What
Well,
can I say?
It's best that we deflate that balloon now.
It's kind of like a dark comedy thing to me, but it's also not like, you know, I'm not saying I'm wrong either.
No, it's look, folks. If we get hung up on like dates and things like that, well, that's.
I also don't want to be that one guy who's like, you know, time's a construct, right? And everybody's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Can we just like drink and eat a lot for one day and not be clinically depressed? And I'm like, no, because I am, so you don't get to be happy.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Like there was a definite motif in like the last couple months where like anything bad would happen and people would be like, oh, 2020 strikes again. And I'd like in the little thing in the back of my head was just like, that's fucking bullshit. But at
Yeah.
the same time I was just like, I know, right? This year just keeps on taking.
I can admit it's a bad year, but I get wore down by the like next year will be a different thing like
Yeah.
that. It's just like, you know, I don't want to be the one. I don't want the you were right at the end of the year, but I still
Yeah.
don't believe you.
think you should expect some more shit to happen in 2021 as well.
Who knows? Maybe this will be the best year of my life.
Maybe. You know, if I were to become inexplicably successful, I mean, it would be a pretty good year and a totally different year than any other year I've lived. But till then, it's just more of the same.
Until I'm successful, life sucks.
That's right. Or until that fucking vaccine works out. I mean, you know.
Just trying to roll it out. Hopefully it does the trick.
Here's
Sounds
hoping, I
like
mean,
at the same speed that it's rolling out, people are rolling out stories about a new strain, which I don't want to hear that.
yeah.
Knock it off. You take that news and you still tell me because I don't want to be in the dark, but doesn't mean I have to like it.
I don't like it one bit.
No.
No, sir.
Well, we're almost to the end of this episode.
Holy shit, are we? God.
Yeah, we didn't talk about depressing stuff at all until the very end. We kept it bottled up. This is the firework finale at the end.
Yep, this is where we all sit on the therapist chair and just sort of tell them about all this shit.
Yep. Who's our therapist? They're not. Is it the chat? Is it Fraser Crane?
Yeah.
Alright.
I say Niles.
I like to put on seasons of Frasier and then just say my problems over the episode while it's airing.
And then it's like once in a while, like when Frasier's like kind of diagnosing somebody, he'll like say it, and I'll be like, that doesn't make sense. That's not at all like what I'm going through.
Why do I pay you?
You're fucking useless, Frasier. That is a. I could talk about Frasier now that I've watched half of it at this point. I'm at the halfway mark of Frasier.
You know, Matty F, friend of the show, he's in the chat right now. Big fan of Frasier, I believe, if I remember correctly. So
We did that like episode 2 or something like that. We were just making Frasier Star Wars jokes the whole time, and like I hadn't seen like more than an episode of the show, and I felt like a fraud.
well, you were, but now
Yeah.
now you're not. We could have we could bring Matty F on. We could have a Frasier themed episode.
Let's have a Frasier episode, a Frasier themed DrawBomb.
Matty F says Frasier should be in The Mandalorian.
That would be great.
They haven't done the Cheers cinematic universe yet, but
No.
any day now.
You know what? That's an article I should write. Is about if they approve it, not Frasier Cinematic Universe, although that one's definitely a great idea. But
Spin-offs.
is about how like 90% of TV shows technically don't exist.
What's that mean?
So like, let's take a trip back to the 1980s.
Down memory lane.
Down memory lane. So there's a show called Saint Elsewhere. No, I'm not talking about the Gnarls Barkley album. I'm talking about the TV show about the hospital. And that show was a hospital drama, much like your Houses and your Scrubses and your Who's and What's It's and your Doogie Howsers and your Hoogie Dowsers. And it's a show in a hospital, and then like the show ends. And how do you think they ended the show, Brandon?
It was a dream.
Almost. What it was is there was a kid who was autistic, and he was looking at a snow globe, and the entire hospital was in a snow globe. So basically what they implied was that all of the episodes were just the like creative mind of this child looking into the snow globe, imagining the lives of the people in this hospital.
That's I feel like I'll let you get back to your point, but I feel like that's the writers being extremely humble to be like, hey, this is all a child's brain. The stuff we spent doing, 9 to 5, getting paid.
A kid could write this.
A kid unintentionally wrote it while daydreaming. That's how good of writers we are.
Yeah. So the way that this makes almost all TV shows made up in this child's mind is that Saint Elsewhere did guest stars or crossover episodes where people who were characters from other TV shows would come into Saint Elsewhere and be like, boy, today is my day at the hospital. Which would mean that those characters are also created in this child's brain, because like in St. Elsewhere, when these crossovers happened, it was like canon, and like Frasier or whoever was actually coming over to the hospital for whatever the thing. So if the hospital is all made up in a kid's mind, and these characters from these TV shows visit this hospital, then these characters are also made up in this child's mind. And then some people did like some graphs charting like Saint Elsewhere, all of the characters that crossovered onto Saint Elsewhere, and then all of the show's characters have crossovered onto those shows, and like shows that they've also crossed over onto.
So like if Frasier shows up at St. Elsewhere, that means Cheers isn't real.
Or I think Ted Danson from Cheers may have showed up in St. Elsewhere, but that also means that Frasier's not real.
And then anybody who like showed up at Frasier is no longer real.
Yeah, like so like for instance, if like Ross from Friends were to show up for an episode of Frasier, all of a sudden Friends is part of this child's imagination. So then like they determined that like 92% of like sitcoms were made up in this child's imagination or something like that.
It was like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, like
exactly
throughout all of media. Why do they need to do all these crossover episodes?
I don't know it. It's weird, but I'm gonna find out the name of this. It's the Tommy Westphal theory of a unified TV universe.
Okay. Well,
so.
Maybe throw that in the Discord.
I will. As of this writing, 441 shows can be tied to St. Elsewhere with varying degrees of separation, ranging from I Love Lucy to The Flash. If the theory holds, then a large chunk of television is the direct result of one child's formidable imagination.
Wow, that kid grew up to be Abed.
Exactly. And that's why he knows everything about tropes and things like that. So I'm gonna
he
post
created them.
Exactly. I'm gonna post a link to that article on the DrawBomb Discord.
Yeah, you should. I actually want to read that. It sounds interesting.
You should also post your Santa Claus.
Oh yeah, I'll do that right now.
Links. Here's that Saint Elsewhere thing I just mentioned. Literally now I'm typing this
Where are you
message
posting it? In
on
links?
the show. Yeah, I'm putting it in links.
Okay. I'll put mine in, what do I do? Show offs? You recently upped the ante, which, thank you for doing that, but we got some. It's not in full use yet, but we'll get there. But our Discord, Ian's been setting it up, making it all nice, having different sections for different conversations, stuff like that. Feel free to use it. The more you guys use it, the more I will use it. I know you shouldn't be the one leading the way. I am the co-host of the show, but you know, still, I need to be forced into doing things. Okay.
Yeah. Feel free to post in the chat. It's people have posted things. People have posted updates on their Sims, which I do play a lot of Sims, so I actually have.
Yeah, we should have like a whole gaming one. I guess that could just be general. We don't talk enough in there now.
Yeah, it's not used enough. Like if we get like a lot of people in there,
Yeah.
I'll start breaking the shit up in a sec. But in the meantime, just general is fine. But I could post about my my weird Sims eugenics program I've been running, sort of.
Shame on you.
It's better than it sounds. Okay, it's not as the sex cult thing was definitely bad. The Sims 4 eugenics program is not as bad as the sex cult thing. If that sounds plausible, I promise you. It's look, The Sims is basically an excuse to be a terrible person, okay? So,
I mean, we're all in a iteration of The Sims right now. One might believe. Yeah. But yeah, I threw that D&D drawing that I made of us fighting Santa in the show off section of the Discord as well, so check that out as well. Maddie F. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you go. You read it.
No, you.
You hang up first. Maddie F says, "Did you say Sims? Sims 4 is like $4 RN, which I believe means right now."
It does.
It's been on sale. Yeah, I mean, like, they've released so many expansion packs for that game, and like, you really do need fucking all of the expansion packs in order to get like I have literally every downloadable content for The Sims 4, which is like $300 worth of purchases I've made over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
and it's still largely the same game. But you know, now I can do laundry as a sim, so that's pretty fantastic.
The more I see of you playing The Sims, the more I believe that we are in a simulation. Like, you even leave it running, like, all day just so that
Yeah.
lives can be lived, and I feel it seems to be make the whole conspiracy thing seem a little more believable.
You know, it does, especially when you consider like all the weird shit that just happens in life. Like when people talk about like, oh, John Wilkes Booth and his brother were so and so and born on this day, and then Abraham Lincoln was shot on the same day that JFK was born on the same day he was born and shot on the same day Abraham Lincoln was born. Just all those fucking like.
Man, people were born and shot a lot on the same day.
They sure were. Like, there's some shit like that with like JFK and Abraham Lincoln, and they're just like, isn't that wild? And I'm just like, that is wild, but I mean, in a long enough timeline, that shit does make sense that like shit would line up like that. But also, maybe that's the computer game we're all inside of, being like, woo!
Maddie F says the bundles are like $17, so it might be worth it. Are you playing, or are you just thinking about playing, Matt? Because Ian's your guy, and maybe that would be worth us all like coming up with experiments and seeing how they turn out. I might jump in on some of that stuff.
I highly recommend it. If you do buy, well, first of all, if you do buy it and you want to try and get some expansion packs, they usually do a discount offer where you can actually get 2 expansion packs, or like they sell you an expansion pack and a stuff pack, which is like 2 separate things, all for like a price that's way reduced for both of them. Especially if they're like things are on sale right now, that price might be even lower. If you want to talk to me about that.
Are there any yeah, well, we can talk about that afterwards. But are there any mandatory expansion packs, or because I have the base game, could I jump in on some of these experiments with just that, or will that not work?
I mean, you can definitely have some experience, but there's 2 things I would recommend. One, I'd have to look into what expansion packs you should get, because I do think there's a couple that make the experience more interesting.
Yeah, look into that while they're on sale, because from like the viewpoint of like a book club where we meet up and be like, all right, here's how our eugenics program is going on all our different games. I'd be down for something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I probably won't dig in full Sims, but I would also be interested in doing some little things like that.
Yeah, like there's an expansion pack called like Childhoods or whatever, which I feel like is very mandatory, because what it does is, without it, like base game, Sim starts out as a baby and then they're a kid. But if you get the childhood one, not only do they have a toddler age in between, but also they have like this system where you can teach your kids like 5 traits, like empathy, emotional control, responsibility, 2 other things.
But if you teach them that stuff, they may never become president of the United States.
That's right, because then they're not a piece. Well, you can also teach them the wrong way too. So you can teach them to be a real piece of shit, and then they can be president of the United States. And then, but like, so like, if you teach them well enough, they get a trait that automatically, like for instance, my one sim just happened to get the responsibility trait, so they work better at their job as an adult because they were trained to be responsible as a child. But also, you can train them the opposite way, and then they're a piece of shit. Like, so you do have a bit more, like, not only is there that toddler stage, but you also have a bit more control in like how they grow up affects how they are as an adult, which I think is a very interesting thing. There's also yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I wasn't trying to cut you off.
Well, I was just gonna say, there's also expansion packs. Like, there's one where like you can have clubs, and that it also introduces aliens. So like you'll just be playing, and then you'll run into somebody, and then you'll find out they're an alien just randomly, which is a fun experience. There's also vampires. You can get mermaids, robots. If you get the university expansion, like I sent my one sim to university, and he met like a bunch of robots. So now there's just like a bunch of robots who are just glitching the fuck out, and like they're all broken because you can fix them and make them actually work, but like these are some fucked up robots right now that just keep walking around and getting stuck out in the rain and shit like that. Color
me interested. I'll look at all the expansions, see what they cost. So maybe we'll do something like that. We can post our results.
Yeah. I also highly recommend. This is one last thing, and then we can end the show. I know I've turned this into a Sims forum for a brief moment.
I mean, that's usually how the shows end.
That's true. I do usually talk about The Sims for at least 10 minutes. But there's a mod that I recommend downloading. It's called the MC Command Center. And what it is if you play The Sims without this mod, your Sims, like, you can have like a bunch of different families spread out all around your neighborhoods, but like they won't do anything. They might just like you put like two parents and like a kid, and then you come back like 14 sim years later, and like the kid still lives with his parents even though he's a full-grown adult. His parents are old, none of them done anything, none of them met anybody. They just like live life in a box. But if you get this mod, they can actually like marry and like I put Scooby and the gang as a family inside one of the houses the one time. And then I checked back later, and like Shaggy had married some dude and like moved out and left like Scooby with Daphne and Velma, and like Fred died of hunger or something like that.
God.
Like,
What a twist.
like, yeah.
Of
So,
all
like,
the
shit
things,
happens.
I mean, that dude dealt with like zombies and ghosts, and he got killed by forgetting to eat.
Yep, which has happened a surprising amount in that game. So I do think that mod makes the game vastly improved. Aside from that, it's a lot of like tailoring the experience to your own whims. But I have all of the expansion packs because I have been inside all year.
You should start making some like videos and editing them, and like there's video channels that are just people like who have like they create like ecosystems in a jar, and you could do the same thing except with Sims.
That's true.
Being like, here's where we're at. Let's track like what happens, and just like post updates. You can skip all the in between stuff.
I thought about that too, because I've had some fucking experiences in the game where I'm just like, wish I was recording that. That was hilarious. Like the only thing that stopped me from doing it is just actually doing it. I have used the game to like I made the gang from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and then I would check in every once in a while and see what they were doing, and like I would just write out what the episode of It's Always Sunny that involves them doing that would be, which came up with some interesting results, I would say. You can make it so like your sim, like you can give your sim a trait where they'll eat like food out of the trash.
I'm the garbage man.
I gave Frank that trait because I was just like, of course he would.
It's good. It's good. Well,
I eat trash.
sounds great. On that note, I think it's time we end the show.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've talked about Shrek. We've talked about Sims. We've talked about sharks.
All the
Shrek
things.
sharks.
I think that's everything that we, people deal with in life. Those three.
Those are there are three things that are certain in life.
Yeah.
Shrek,
Sharks. Sims.
Sims.
They all start with S. But we covered them all. And now it's time to play us out.
Oh, do you have anything to plug?
Watch DrawBomb on Mondays. That's about it right now. I have some projects in the works, but nothing currently that I can talk about.
Watch
But
DrawBomb and Mondays 8 p.m. EST. Check out GameRant.com. I write articles for them sometimes. I've written about 20 articles at this point, which is weird to think about, but I have another one getting posted tomorrow. So if you want to see me talk about Studio Ghibli's how do you say that fucking name? Studio Ghibli?
I think it's Ghibli.
I think it's Ghibli. I'm looking it up real quick while we play us out, but yeah, I have an article about Studio Ghibli's newest offering, Earwig and the Witch, tomorrow.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
That's it. What was that?
I haven't seen that. I also.
It's not released in the United States yet.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that explains it because that's where I live.
That's me too.
But
Much to my chagrin.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, on that note, thanks for watching. Thanks for everybody in the chat. We appreciate it. Bye.
Bye. Bye.